Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Coffee Run with John from ProCraps here on Casino Gaming TV. New show, same time, but new show, we got a little bit of a weird camera delay going on. Anyway, maybe that's just on my end, but good morning and how y'all doing? Kind of an exciting show yesterday. We had a little bit of a rant from old Johnny yesterday at the end of it. Sorry for that. Sometimes I get fired up on some things, and yeah, I had a lot of, I spent most of yesterday actually text messaging with everybody, and a bunch of emails came through. Nobody on Discord that much, but a lot of text messages and emails telling me to calm the hell down and what's my problem, and a little bit of support here, a little bit of support there, and it was just one of those things, right? Yesterday was an interesting day, but here's the deal. We're all friends and family, and that's all that matters, right? We don't always have to agree on everything. Gargoyle says this a lot. Don't got to agree, right? What we got to do is be respectful, and that's what it comes down to. So anyway, let's hop into it. I got a couple of things to talk about this morning that I think are interesting, and then we might have some time to do some side bet action on my crap stables. Let's go. First things first. Wrong screen. Let me go here, and give you the rundown for today. So. One thing to note, Ed, Gargoyle, and Jeff are going to be going live tonight. I don't know what time. I'll check the screen. I think it's at 5 o'clock Eastern, 8 Pacific, I think is what it is. I'll double check that for you in just a minute. But yeah, they're going to go live tonight. I expect they'll address some of what got said yesterday. But really, it's about watching them throw and bet. I think watching Ed and Gargoyle, to me, what I love most about those kind of shows, and it's Fantasy Craps is one thing because there's 10 people doing it, and there's a lot going on there. When it's just like Jeff and Ed throwing, or Ed and Gargoyle throwing, or when it was me and Jeff, or me and Alfredo did it one time, it's really fun to hear the banter back and forth and giving each other crap and that kind of thing. I think that's fun. It's also fun to watch Gargoyle throw because he's said it a couple of times now. He's got his new felt on his table. He made it super bouncy, so he's having a tough time with it. But here's a guy that walks the walk, right? He's like, hey, I'm a DI for life. It's my lifestyle. It's what I do all day long, hours and hours and hours. And you can watch the way he's got his camera set up is different than the way Ed does. Ed's got, like I do, like cameras everywhere. So you're kind of following different things. But Gargoyle keeps it simple on his camera. Watching how he does it is really cool to watch how somebody who's practiced for 30 years do it. And it's like, you have to appreciate the effort that went into all that. So I'm looking forward to that one. It's going to be a fun show tonight. There's that. Also, my wife sent me this text last night, and we knew this was going to happen. We knew that the Casino Royale was going to go bye-bye, right? Unfortunately, it's happened now. It's like, I think it's closed now. I think yesterday or 2 days ago, they closed the doors, as far as I understand it, and it's getting imploded. And it sucks, man. I mean, I joke about my dream being to hit the lottery and buy Casino Royale and make it table games only. It's like my dream. Maybe like the around the outside, some slots just to keep people happy, but really make the whole thing a table gamer's paradise. It's always been my dream. And I love that it's got a Motel 6 and a McDonald's. Like that's like, how much better is that, right? But it's gone. It got bought up and it's going to get imploded and built into something, whatever, super cool and amazing, but it won't have the same, like, I love that like down to earth kind of crappy casino in the middle of the strip. I just thought that was one of the coolest things. Anyway, I guess I'll have to find another spot for Casino John. We'll do Casino John at some point. I'll find a spot for it. We'll do it. We'll do it somewhere. I don't know where, but it won't be the Casino Royale spot anymore, which really kind of blows. I have a call to action here for apps. I showed you this morning on Daily Paycheck. I showed you before the apps that I built for you. If you go to casinogaming.tv, there's a bunch of free apps up there. There's a roll tracker app. There's an ADT or a comp calculator app. There's an app that does bankroll management and one that does your session logging. What other things do you need from me? I've got a good friend. His name is Jack Hayes. He runs the Jack Hayes channel. He's also a coder. He's written some roulette stuff where you can kind of plug in your roulette strategy, like your basic bets, and it'll run a million rolls for you. I can do like some automated craps kind of things like that too on there. But really, if you want like the app on the website or the app to be moved to your phone, what tools do you as gamblers need from me? I've got the time on the weekends at nights to write these things. So If you want something special in an app, let me know, and I can write that in there. And at some point, I'll release it to the App Store. But I'm thinking of things like for example, what I want to do is have a screen where it's got like 6 dice on it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and you go 2, 4, and so you can be at a table and quickly log the rolls, boom, boom, 2 clicks of the thumb to log rolls at a table. I'm thinking of stuff like that to make things easier. But what else do you want? So you can put it in chat here. Anthony wants a phone app, right? I'm thinking about there's already one that I think exports out data to roll to the bone tracker. We can make our roll tracker also export data to bone tracker. Ours also already exports data to WinCraps, so that's already built into it. But think about the things you need to know about. What would you want me to give you? I'm thinking about an estimator app, that kind of stuff. So just think about it. I'll show you some stuff today that might spark some interest. But yeah, anything you want, I can do it. I'm a really good coder, so let me know what you think about. Also, I want to alert this too. Special guests this week. Tomorrow morning, I won't tell you who it's going to be, but tomorrow's Gambling 101 topic is going to be problem gambling. We're going to end the week on I don't want to say a sad note, but on a somber note, right? Talking about the pitfalls of doing this, right? We all, I love craps. I love roulette. I love other games. A lot of you love whatever game it is that you love to play. There's a downside to that, right? And the downside to that is a pretty destructive thing. So tomorrow we're going to highlight, I've got a person coming on who wants to share their story about their problems with either, whether you want to call it gambling addiction or a gambling problem or however we want to term it. We'll talk to that person tomorrow and they're going to tell their story. They've told it to me. They've been on other shows and they've made light mention of it, but tomorrow we're going to hear the full story. And it's a cautionary tale for sure. And I'm excited that they want to share it because I think it's important to be shared. I really do. As you recall, a couple of years ago, we did a telethon to raise money for the NCPG, the National Council on Problem Gambling. They have the 1-800-GAMBLER people. Their executive vice president is going to come on with me next week. I don't know what day yet. We're trying to figure out what day it's going to be. But he's going to come on with me next week. I may have to record him because his schedule and mine conflict. But we're going to have the VP of NCPG on with us, and he's going to talk about it from their side of things. What are the warning signs? What are the real warning signs? How do they recognize things? How do they help people? What resources they have for you? So it'll be 2 days on problem gambling. I don't know when he's going to be on. So next week's rhythm might be broken up because we're going to be maybe it's Wednesday or something. It kind of jumps in the middle of our regular sequencing. But when his schedule allows, we'll have him on as well. So we'll have two, I think, powerful statements on this notion of problem gambling. One from a person who was going through it. One from somebody who helps people going through it. So that's coming up. I'm excited about that. So we're going to talk here in a minute about the daily paycheck, and then we're going to jump into day 3 of our Gambling 101 series, and we're going to ask the question: Who are you? Who are you as a gambler? So here we go. Let's hop in to the daily paycheck wrap up. And if you watched that show this morning, I actually had somebody come in the other day and yesterday said, that's the most boring thing I ever watched. And I'm like, great. That means I'm doing my job, right? I'm not, wait, let me go back a screen. Because Anthony says this, maybe a real-time casino check-in that sends out push notifications. So here's the deal. We have that, kind of. Remind me after this segment in the Q&A section, Anthony. I will show it to you, how that works. All right, back to the odds maker. So he says to me, that's boring, man. Like watching paint dry. And I'm like, okay, cool. That's welcome to daily paycheck. Daily paychecks the show is fun when I have a bad day, obviously, because I'm emotional and I get pissed off and I throw shit around and all that kind of stuff. It makes that a fun show. But the paycheck play is not exciting. The odds maker strategy itself is pretty, what's what I'm looking for? I don't know. It's a good example of that, right? It's a boring strategy. It's a pass line bet and it's a DC bet and you wait it out. And yeah, we had a couple of nice rolls today. All right, we waited it out. I was one away from both sides of the ATS a couple times today. That was exciting for a minute. But really, it's about me dialing in that throw. It's about making some simple bets. It's about mechanical play to the chagrin of Darksider and others. It's about paycheck play. It's not supposed to be destroy the casino play. That's excess money, or that's a different mindset. We'll talk about mindsets later on, but this strategy is boring, but it works. Now, one thing to talk about here is bet sizing, and I want to jump into another screen here with you real quick, because bet sizing to me is one of these things that we don't talk about enough. Ken from Ken Knows Gambling has talked about this as part of his tales of being a professional gambler, and bet sizing is where it's at. I say to you all the time, and this is going to kind of dovetail here, but time is your enemy. This strategy shows that to you a little bit. Other things I've done show you that time, if it takes 100 rolls to get there, you're doing something wrong. Like you're exposed for way too long. They will get you. Law of big numbers catches up to you the longer you're there. Let's get in and get out quick. So let me switch up real quick, and I want to show you something that I think is interesting. Let's go over here. This is a spreadsheet that I did a long time ago, and this spreadsheet has lots of stuff on it. So you talk about like an app that I might build. All these things that are all these tabs down here on this spreadsheet potentially are things that could be part of an app. But here's one sheet this is the projections or the estimator sheet, right? And what I do here is this. We're say you answer some questions. And I think the 20% one does the same kind of thing. Like, how much do you want to win? I want to win 250. And again, this is designed to give you like a longevity view. But let's say I want to win 250. I'm going to go once a week. I'm going to go once. That 1 week of play once. So this is basically my win goal is 250. Okay. Look at what happens on the right side. If you're playing at a $10 table, okay, you're playing at a $10 table and you want to win 250, you need to win 25 times. Okay. That's a big deal. That's like a huge deal. And I want you to really, really consume that for a minute. Okay. Over here, 25 times is a lot. That's a lot of wins. It takes a long time. It takes at least 25 rolls probably to win 25 times, okay? Especially if you're same betting what you're doing. That's a giant ask. So when you think about, oh, my goal is it's only 250, you're at a $10 table, you could have a great freaking day to make that work. That's really tough. What I'm doing right here, we're looking to win 250. I'm betting right now on daily paycheck, $25 units. I still have to win 10. And that's a lot of work. Winning 10 units is not easy. That's why I say 10% win goals are hard, because you still have to win 10 times without getting whacked or above the whacks to make it happen. That's a lot of work for any strategy to pull off, or any shooter to get you. So if you think about that, right? If you start changing the bet size and you start going black, right, to win 250, it's 3 wins, right? 3 net wins. Come out 7 for me. Right? The DC gets set behind a number. I put the odds back there. We 7 out. That's my 3 units. That's the come out 7 winner on the pass line. That's my odds plus my flat on the don't, and I'm done. Right? This right here optimizes for time. This is a time optimizer. I'm going to put it right here, time. Right? Think about that as you play. And I want to make that like as clear and obvious as I can. This is the kind of thing that I could put on the app too, but bet sizing is not to be ignored or trifled with. And I think that, I was talking to Eric Hazel last night from Premier Hosting, and we have an event coming up in around Super Bowl weekend, and we're talking about, hey, the private table and blah, blah, blah. It's going to be a $25 table, which scares a lot of people off. Well, the wrestling match that you have sometimes when you're playing for comps, and we'll talk about that in a minute also, is time, right? Casinos rate you on 2 things, bet size and time at the table. Sometimes bet sizes, the higher the bet size, the less time you're gonna be at the table, because A, you lose your money faster, or B, you win your money faster, right? So higher bet sizes can limit your table time, but it also does increase your baseline bets, which can help the rating side of it. There's this wrestling match with that. So at some point, I'm going to have a casino host, not from Premier. I will have Premier on here, of course, but a host from a casino or a boss from a casino that'll explain their end of that. So you get a better sense of kind of how that calculation really works and what the difference is. But for me, getting in and getting out, the bet sizing is an important piece of it. I think we have to be really in tune with that bet size thing. And that's a whole thing, right? 25 times that losing mark the point is a lot, right? And again, think about that. If you're looking to win 250 at a $10 table, you got to win 25 times. Like think about how hard that is. That's why if you don't do again, that's third grade math, right? When we forget to do it, it's about your brain, right? About forgetting to do the simple things, right? When you go to the casino, $10 tables are great, but you got to have, a more normal sized win goal. You can't go out there and say, hey, I'm going to win $1,000 at a $10 table. Well, you got 25 wins. And if granted, if you're pressing a bet and you hit the press to bet, that counts for 4 wins, right? You got your base bet, you pressed it up, you won the press, you're getting paid 4 times your initial flat bet. You can stack those up and again, reduce some of that time. And that's how the math works on that. But you got to be ready to accept the fact that that's what it takes to win. And it's a tough hurdle to cross. You know what I mean? I think that's where a lot of us get God, why didn't I do better today? We were here, I had a great run. Well, the great run comes with, you got to catch up too sometimes. Yeah, Jen saying you get nowhere when you play 64 across, 96 minimum, love the 204 across. And again, you're looking at those strategies again, and again, you've got to take the dollars out of it, Jen, and everybody else that sees this comment, take the dollars out of it. If it's 64 across and it's 5 wins, that's 5 times 14, that's what, 100 and whatever the hell that is, 50, what is that, $70, right? The $70 doesn't matter. If it's $64, your wins are proportional to your initial bankroll. If it's 96 or if it's 204, where it's $50 every win. If you're looking for a monetary goal, the bigger the bets, the faster you get there. If you're looking for a percentage goal, it doesn't matter what your bet sizes are, but don't put your goal at a dollar figure when your bankroll is too small, and or when your minimum bet's too small. Again, one of those things you learn as you're running around doing this stuff 24 hours a day, right? All right, there it is. There's your odds maker thing. I'm not going to change my bet sizes, but boy, oh boy, do I want to. I really want to get out of there way faster than trying to win 10 units every time I show up to that table in the mornings. All right, let's move ahead. And let's continue along the Gambling 101 series. And I think it's important that we continually remind ourselves of what the core principles of the series, of what the show, and what our mindset ought to be as we head into learning how to be a better gambler, right? And can you be a better gambler? I don't know, but here's my thoughts on this. Number 1, goals. Goals are your North Star. It's what you focus on. It's what drives you to the casino, right? It's what drives your time there. Setting and sticking to your goals is an important piece of it. The strategy that you play, whether you call it a strategy or a betting pattern or whatever you want to call it, whatever game you're playing, wherever your bets land, and how you take care of your wins is how you win the money, right? The way that you progress bets as you win or collect, whatever that is for you, your strategy accounts for your wins and how you attain that goal. Your bankroll accounts for your losses. Your bankroll really is your statement of risk aversion or risk tolerance. Okay, how much am I willing to put at risk to hit the goal? And does the strategy that I want to play work with the bankroll that I've got? Your mindset, your brain is how you connect those 3 together. That's an important piece. And of course, the discipline aspect of it is your execution path, right? It takes discipline, right, to do what your mind's telling you to do and really get it done. So that the rest of it works together. And I think that all together, all that stuff, the success pattern for a gambler, you've got to connect all the dots between goal, strategy, bankroll, mindset, discipline, but really important, knowledge, theory, logic, math has to be there, an understanding of how variance works and how you attack a variant or sit back in a variant. And ultimately, it's the ability to walk, right? Making informed decisions and walking away. My goal here, my job here as an instructor, as a community member, as potentially a leader, is to give you all the information that I can. I'm going to present to you all the information, right? We'll talk to people that you may or may not want to hear or like what they have to say, but it's information for you. We're going to talk to people who may confirm what you believe, but not somebody else. All that information has to be taken in by you, and you make you make the decisions you want to make based on it, but I've got to give it to you. You've got to start learning, everybody, how to process all that information in a way that makes sense for you, that fulfills those 5 tenets up there. So that's an important piece to me. That's your core principles. And again, if you think you have a problem, there's your information at the bottom, 1-800-GAMBLER. Call the NCPG. If you see something in somebody else, you say something. All right. So there is all that. Now, today what I want to talk about to you very lightly today is psychology. We're going to get more into the psychology here later on in the programs. Matter of fact, all of next week, we're going to cover psychology. It might even be for 2 weeks that we cover psychology for, because this is an important piece of it. This is the thing that we make the most mistakes on, because we don't put ourselves in touch with who we are. And I think a lot of times that mismatch is the biggest problem that we have. And it's true in gambling, obviously, that's what we're talking about here, but it's also true in your life, right? And I want to connect you with a couple of ideas here, right? Who are you really? Okay. Now on the gambling side of things, and again, you can think about these questions that I'm asking here in terms of your life as well. But from a gambler's point of view, here's some questions to ask, right? Number one, what is your risk tolerance? And this is an important one. We call it like your threat posture. If you think about, like, I work in cybersecurity and coding, your threat posture for a company. What is that? What is your stance? How averse are you to risk? And this is going to answer the question of, are you a conservative or an aggressive player? That's going to be kind of where that line's for you. This is going to get you down that road. And the reason why I think it's important is this: if you have a lot of disposable income, okay, and again, this is going to be an interesting kind of maybe a little bit of a fracture here. Okay, if you have a lot of disposable income, the assumption may be that your risk tolerance is very low or very high, however you want to term that, right? I have a high risk tolerance. I don't care. If I got, $250 in the bank, $250,000 in the bank in a separate account that I can use for casino gambling, you could say that I don't care about the risk, right? But that person buying in for $1,000 could not care less about the $1,000. You would think, okay? They probably really do. People who have that kind of money in the bank didn't get there because they don't care about their money. They got there because they're very cautious and they care and they worked to get it there, right? But your risk tolerance, how much am I willing to lose? Am I willing to light the $1,000 on fire? Or is that $1,000 seen by me as a tool that I have to kind of massage and work with to get to my goal? That's an important piece to know. What is your risk? If you take 10% of your master bankroll to the casino, are you okay with losing it or not? That's the first question. The second question is, what is that number? What is the number? What is the bankroll, right? If your 401g account, and I'll use myself an example. My 401g account's right about 5 right now. Okay, I've been up and down with it. I bought a bunch of stuff, right? Whatever. It's about 5K. It's been up, it's been down. That's where we are. 10% of that is $500. That's my typical buy-in right now, to be honest with you. That's my bankroll. What should I be doing there? Should I be with that bankroll at a $100 table? No, right? But that bankroll determines where I go and what I do. For sure, that has a huge impact on what I do and how I play. My risk tolerance is I don't want to lose the 500. I want to make the 5,000 look like 10,000 so I can get back to normal again and start buying in for $1,000 or $2,000, right? That's what I want to be at. So my risk tolerance with that money in this era of my life is low. Low risk. I don't want to put that too much at risk. When I have 20K in that bank account and I bought in for $1,000, my risk tolerance was higher because I wanted that money to be a stronger tool for me. That's an important thing. What's my goal? I told you, my goal, build that bankroll. Your goal might be to pay for your trip. Earn enough money in Vegas to pay for the plane rides and the food. Your goal might be to say, I don't care about my money. I've got a low risk tolerance. I really don't care about it. Let me go and light it on fire so I can light the casino on fire. Maybe that's your goal, right? What's your realistic expectation? You have to know these things before you leave your house. We talked yesterday about what is your goal statement. Remember the goal statement? I'm willing to risk X playing this game so that I can earn Y so that I can do X with the money. Remember all that we talked about yesterday? This is what these questions are kind of giving you that extra level of detail to that goal statement. Super important thing for you to understand here, okay? Now, to get into it, this is gonna again lead us into next week and maybe the week after. I wanna look at every player type. And this is we call them in marketing, we call them personas. What persona are you? What is your predisposition? And if I go back a screen, what is your risk tolerance? Who are you? This answers the question, who are you? Are you a conservative person or a conservative player? And that means I don't want to lose a dime. Like, I really don't want to lose my money. I have this super low risk. I don't want to lose anything. I'm going to be playing more hybrid, right? More hedgy kind of strategy, more 6, 7, 8 tiles. Give me a little like today, like the odds maker. Give me a little pass line, a little DC, not putting a bunch of money out there, not trying to press like crazy. I'm playing a short game. I'm trying to get in and get out, I'm trying to get 2 or 3 wins, 64 across, 1, 2, 3 hits, same bet and go home. Like, that's the kind of person that's a conservative on the craps table. And again, this is your mindset. This is your brain saying, I am a conservative person. I don't want to have the risk. Your brain could also be saying, I am super aggressive. Like, I am going to the casino with the $500 or the $1,000 or the $5,000, and I'm going to burn it down to the ground to burn them down to the ground. Whether you're going to go right side or dark side, 3-point dolly with max odds, right? Like, seriously, don't pass, hammer it. Don't come, hammer it, hammer it. Like, 3 massive don't bets. That's aggressively going after the 7. If you want to be aggressively going after the right side, right? 120 inside, press to the roof, right? You're an aggressive person, an aggressive player. We're going to talk later on about making sure that that matches, right? Are you a thinker? We have a person in the audience, one of my favorite people in the world, Skill Unlocked, Dylan. He's the thinker. Dylan likes to concoct all the ways, right, to beat the game with his brain, right? Using probability, math, hybrid style play. He will lay the 9 for $636 exactly, and put a $21 horn and a $26 field out there to save a $100 don't pass bet. Like, all that works perfect, minus like a $10 spiff somewhere, right? That's the thinker. The thinker is trying, and I used to be in this category. I might still be in this category. The thinker is always trying to play the game. They're playing, I think JB called it battleship. You're trying to play battleship against the casino. You're trying to, that's what you're doing all the time, right? You can't beat the game. We know this, but the thinker is only engaged when they're thinking. And I said this in my podcast, The Fireside Craps. The reason why I would put myself, and I might call myself an aggressive thinker. Maybe I cross over categories here, but I always feel like, again, this is a little bit of me coming out here. I feel like it's sad to me if you just sort of play 3-point Molly, even though it's a good strategy, right? The odds maker, to some degree, is a sad little strategy. And I say that because there's no effort put into it. It's like, I think we said this on the podcast. It's like playing the lottery and having the computer pick the numbers for you. Give me 10 quick picks for the $1 billion, right? Having the machine pick 10 quick picks and having me put 10 cards with my birthday, all the family's birthdays on it. I actually have a card with all of our birthdays on it, with all the dogs' birthdays on it, with all my favorite craps numbers on it, like my favorite roulette numbers, right? I picked the cards. Is there any difference between the cards that I picked, the 10 and 10 random computer picks? There's no difference. There's zero difference in Powerball, right? None. There just as much chance to win on the random ones versus my own. But as a thinker, I like to go, let me make a ticket where all the numbers are odds. All the odd numbered birthdays come out, and all the even numbered birthdays are, that's the kind of thing a thinker does, right? On roulette and craps, all the roulette strategies have got bets everywhere, right? Somebody's trying to outthink the wheel. But it's to me, the thinker's brain has to be engaged. And if you fall into that category, great, that's good. But make sure, again, that you are aware of that. And you don't go out there, you are a thinker, but you're playing some other way. Like, that's the thing that we have to kind of get through. If you're a math person, a completely math-driven person, you're playing the line, right? And that's somebody who's, like I said before, they've given up. The math player, the pure math player, the Michael Shacklefords of the world. to me, have given up. They're at the craps table or at the roulette table doing quick picks, right? If you're a mathlete, if you're going to the craps table and you're playing pass line max odds and 2 combats with max odds, you're basically doing a quick pick, right? And again, you can argue with me that 96 across versus a $25 combat and max odds, it's the same risk, it's the same thing. It probably is the same thing mathematically speaking, but the math person doesn't want to think. They don't want to try and beat the game. They're going to follow the numbers of house edge. And to me, that person's given up. But you have to embrace that if that's you. If you can't get out of the headspace that says, I want to play low house edge, then you got to embrace it and do it and own that. And it's fine. It's fine. We'll talk about that as well. The bankroll hammers, right? This is going to be the guys that do the $5,000 buy-in and they do the ladder chases, right? Or the martingale players, right? Where their bankroll is the tool. It's not strategic. Like, I'm going to play these 3 numbers and press that one and move to here and do all the things a thinker would do, right? The bankroll hammer guy says, I'm going to bet right here and I'm just going to wait it out. And if you beat me, I'm putting more money up. If you beat me again, I'm putting up more money. Beat me again, it's more money. My bankroll will beat the casino because eventually the things will come back to me. And that person has a super high risk tolerance. They don't care. They're putting 5K or 10K up to win $100 sometimes because they know that they have the hammer and they look at every problem as a nail. Okay. If that's your mindset, fine, go play that way. But again, know that, put that in your mind. Okay. What I worry about is people that see other people playing other ways and assume their persona. That's a scary thing. We'll talk about that here in a second. The last player type here is a field player. This is the guys that you know from chat that will, quote unquote, read a table, right? The field player reads the table. I sense a trend. I feel a streak coming, or I'm in a streak, or whatever it is, or I'm a controlled thrower is a field player, right? Controlled throwers are typically going to be, again, they're going to cross over. You can be a conservative guy and a controlled thrower at the same time. I would put myself there as well, right? I'm a conservative player, generally speaking. Depends on my goal that day, I suppose, right? But as a controlled thrower, I'm looking to feel. I'm getting a lot of 5s today, right? My toss is producing 5s. We're on the 5, right? If you're not a controlled thrower and you don't have the dice, you're feeling out the table and making bet choices based on what you're seeing. So that person also, that's their psychology. They can't get out of the mindset of, I'm reading the table, I'm seeing what's happening, that's where my money's gonna go. That's cool. Know the answer to the questions. Know who you are in this world. Are you conservative, aggressive? Do you like to outthink the game? Do you only rely on math? Do you have a massive bankroll and you're gonna use the bankroll as your hammer, not your brain? Or are you more of a field player? What I worry about, and I alluded to this earlier, was people who watch YouTube videos. And again, I'm guilty of this as well. I put YouTube videos out with strategies on them. I watch them also. I worry about people who watch YouTube videos and go, that looks cool. They watch me play the Philly special, and 4 or 5 times I've taken the Philly special and I've won 5K with it. Oh my God, that's the greatest thing I've ever seen. What a great pressing rhythm John just come up with, right? Or they watch me play the odds maker and they go, oh man, he's winning every day. I'm doing that. That's beautiful. Or they watch Waylon do a loss ladder chase on whatever he's got going on, right? Oh man, wow. He wins every time, right? Because eventually the ladder works, right? And you go, that's great. What I worry about is your psychology might be you're a whatever, conservative player, but you love what you saw somebody else do and you try and apply what you saw to your brain and you have this instant, okay, my brain didn't let me do this. My brain's telling me this is wrong, but it looked like so much fun or it looked perfect, right? You get this opposing force in your brain. You've got to be careful of that. And I think this is where YouTube has done all of us a disservice, I think, to some degree. So you look at like these different play styles. To me, that's the big disservice of YouTube is I see a lot of cool things, but they don't really match me. And you've got to start connecting the dots of my personality type with the play style that I'm seeing and what my bankroll actually is. Maybe you are, in line with the ladder loss thinking, but you've got $500. Maybe you are in line with the aggressive line of thinking, but you've only got $250. Maybe you are super conservative, but you're rolling in there with $10,000 because you've got this great, disposable income stash, right? All of that has to kind of come here for you to have the best chance of winning. Match up who you are with what you got and what you're trying to get to. I think that's the most important piece to this whole thing. And again, we're gonna work that whole thing next week, maybe the next 2 weeks. We're gonna really answer this question and do the reality check and try and understand to the best of our ability, does our personality, conservative, aggressive, thinker, whatever it is, match up with our bankroll and match up with our goals? All three of those things have got to be on point for you to have success. If you don't have the bankroll to achieve your goal, and you're not going to play in a way that suits you and your bankroll, you're going to miss the goal every single time. That unless you strike lightning in a bottle, okay? It's already hard enough to do all that stuff. So you've got to be willing to take some concessions and play different ways that support all three things. Make sure all three things are kind of in alignment. And again, these things may not be in alignment every time you go to the casino. I think it's important to know that too. It's very, very possible that today I'm going with this small bankroll and a small goal in a conservative mindset. Tomorrow I may be going with a bigger bankroll and a more aggressive mindset. You got to, be able to switch that if you need to on a per session basis. But by and large, you are who you are, and you got to sort of own who you are. Okay. So here's your self checkup. Here's your questions, right? Does your bankroll match personality type? Are you aggressive? And if so, do you have enough money to match the aggression? Are you a bankroll hammer guy with no bankroll? Right? Understand that. If not, if that answer is no, do you feel like you're being forced to playing a way that doesn't match who you are? Like, I want to be a bankroll hammer guy. I want to do the lost ladder. I want to play like Waylon. I want to do a Daylan Bear. I want to do a martingale. I want to do it, but I only got this much money, so I got to play it a different way. Or got to play it somewhere else, right? You can take your $500 and do a lost ladder at $1 level on a bubble craft machine, but you got to be okay with not being at the real table. And again, does your brain allow you to do that? Those are the tough questions, guys. What are your realistic goals and how do you merge it all together? And the things I'm talking about here are how we merge it together, okay? And again, you've got to check the ego. You got to check it all aside and say, look, I am wanting to be aggressive. I don't have the money to be aggressive. There's a thing over there called a bubble craft machine that I can be aggressive on. And that will feed that beast for you. Maybe you can use that $200 and your aggressive way today works and you earn 100, right? And you can build that up to where you can play where you quote unquote want to play. But I think you got to get your brain right, guys. Got to get your brains right. So important to be in touch with who you are, personality-wise, who you are in your soul, what your bank account looks like, what can you afford to lose, and what are you willing to lose, and what's the goal at the end. All that has to marry up. So that's going to be kind of a preview today of what's coming next week. We're going to talk, again, I've got to go back a couple screens here. I've got a full day planned to talk about each of these player types. It'll take us 2 weeks to get through it all. But we're going to talk about each player type, and I will show you some strategies on the craps table and on the roulette table. And even we can do a little bit, maybe we'll do some cards too, that speak to how would you play with these different personality types at different bankroll levels. How does it look for you? So that's going to be the questions that I hope to help us answer going forward. Okay, so in chat right now, go ahead and start pulling up your personal questions that you've got for me. I'll leave the screen up here for questions and comments. It is 8:45. I'm going to go run through and see if I can find anything interesting that you want to talk about. If not, I will go to the table and we'll roll out dice for a few minutes because why not? Let me go check for, again, capital Q if you have a question, capital PC if you want to call me out on something. So, AZ, I got to show you this. AZ Crap Shooters wants to see, let me go here. Let's see, let's go to this. All right, casinogaming.tv. You may not know this, but if you're logged in, the casino locator has a way for you to check in where you are. You can say, I am playing, pick your state, I guess, or where am I playing? Does this have the, I guess I got to put the state in here, but yeah, I'm playing at like Bally's, and the table minimums are $10, right? And I can update my location. If I look at my locator app, I can see where are people playing. If I filter by like Nevada or something, you can see here that people have logged in. Mr. Gorn and Big Sam and Tony were at the Fremont. This is going back to DiceCon. Who's at the El Cortez? BT14 was at the Bighorn. If I look at just like Washington, nobody's playing in Washington. Who's playing in Colorado? Anybody in Colorado? Nobody's in Colorado. Boy, where's everybody at? How about New Jersey? Who's playing in Jersey today? Anybody? So the last check-in that Jeff did, he was at Caesars, and Lou was at Harris. So as you're playing around, you can check in here. This won't give you a push notification, but it will give you, you can refresh the screen and see who's where, which is kind of cool. So I will make this more, what do you call it? More mobile friendly, I think, and also try and make this thing more push notification friendly. So this will be an app that we can certainly add to for sure. So, all right, there's that. What else do we have? Let's see. Arcady says that spreadsheet with the win goals versus table minimum, is that going to be based off like a standard flat? Yes, it's based off standard flat bets and same betting, number of wins. It does not account for you pressing. So if you were to say like, let's say you were on the 6 for $12. Let's say you did $12, 6 and 8. You'd have to win same betting on that, $15 wins, 14. Let's call it $15 to win $150. You need to get 10 wins to make that happen. If you pressed, and then collected, pressed, and then collected, you'd be out because those two presses end up compounding the win totals. So that spreadsheet does not account for that. It's looking for just flat bet wins, but that's great. Let's see. Anthony, watch my video with Shackelford. I mentioned that's why I'm not a fan of come bets, take 2 rolls to win. Yeah, it does and it doesn't. That's a common, fallacy is the wrong words. It's a common mistake that people make. The come bets it's two bets. You got to look at the come bet as it's a, I don't want to say it's a 2-phase bet, but you're making 2 separate bets. The first bet you're making is the come, right? You're hopping the 7s. Essentially, when you're in the come, think of that as you're hopping the 7s, you're hopping the 11 because it wins like a come out roll. It's a hop bet, okay? Normally on a hop bet, if you were to put that same $10 on the any 7 or take the 333 on, hopping the reds and $1 on the yo, they would take your $10 if the something else rolled. In a come bet, you get paid on that, right? So think about it as it doesn't get paid as well as a hop, right? A $10 come bet gets paid $10 1-to-1. If you put 333 on the any reds, right? You get paid the $15 times 3, $45 on the one, but you lose the other one. You get more money on a real hop. But think about the come bet as a hopping bet for 1 roll that you don't lose. If the hop doesn't hit, you don't lose the money. It just goes to a number. Cool. It's like you sticking your bet on that other number. So yeah, that bet itself doesn't know that it has to hit a second time. To the come bet that traveled, it just needs to get an 8 to win, right? Stop thinking about the shooter having to roll something twice for it to win. You dodged, you got to hop the reds without dodging it. That's a good thing on the come bet. When you manage and look at come bets versus place bets, come bets, a $10 come bet versus a $10 any place bet, you run those two forever, the come better always wins. Always wins. If I just do a $12 6 and a $10 come bet and rinse and repeat forever, the come better, even at that flat level, always comes out ahead because that 7's very powerful. So don't poo-poo it. It's an okay way to play. But again, to me, it feels bad to me. I don't like the feeling of nothing but come bets. It feels like you're just giving up, like you're just doing, like I said, lotto quick picks. That's my brain. My brain goes there, and that's what it is. So Jen is saying session bankruptcy $3,000 on what? You're talking about the daily paycheck? You're right. I think that's what you're talking about. So yeah, to go black chip level to win 3 units, right? You got to be a 3K. If you're going to do a black chip level 3-unit win goal, 250, that's what you need. It's a lot. It's a lot of risk for a little bit of reward. But again, you gotta be okay with that, right? And the other thing is this too, and I think this is an okay thing to say. If you are risk averse, and I've said this to you before, let me actually go to the table. I'm gonna run this out. I have to talk about this because I think it's an important thing that we tend to miss on sometimes. And I've said this to you so many times, right? I'm a 100% loss guy, right? I'm willing to lose it all. So if I buy in for, I'll put this up here in the field so you can see it better. If I buy in for $2,500, right? My goal is to win $300, 3 units, okay? You might say that's stupid to risk $2,500 to win 3. You should only ever risk, whatever. So, and I say I don't ever want to lose more than $500. Like I'm gonna, in the garage most times, I'm gonna call it when I'm down $500. I'm like, I'm not gonna lose any more than that. Well, what I should be doing is this, right? I should buy in for only 500, right? What's wrong with buying in for $500, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, $500, and looking to win 3 and saying, you know what? I'm either gonna do it or I'm not. Today's gonna be our day, or today's not gonna be our day. And if I put $100 on the pass line and pop out an 8, which is freaking awesome, and I put $100 in the DC, and we dodge the 7. Matter of fact, we won $100. We won $100. Bam. Look at that. And there's a 5. We have a no 5. We have a good bet on the pass line. Let's put $100 in odds behind the pass line. Okay. Let's take this $100 and put let's put 75 behind the 5 in odds. Let's roll that out for just a minute. Right there's the 6. Again, I'm just doing it really quick here. There's the 8. Okay, there's the 8. Watch this. The 8 pays 100 flat, 125 for the odds, and look at where I am, folks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 150. If I take my other stuff down, there is $1, $2, $300, 325 in profit. Okay, out. If I burned that, if I burned $1, $2, $375, I would do it again at the quarter level, try and build it back up, and then go home. Right? When you say I'm risk averse, and I don't want to put $2,500 at risk to make $100 bets, and you say, I'm only willing to lose $500, that's what it looks like. To say, I'm only willing to lose 500, but I want to win 300 and I want to do it fast. That's how you have to do it. And you're going to walk up there and say, today I'm going to burn $500 or I'm going to make $300 and I'm freaking out of here. That's a mindset thing, right? If you're not willing to burn the whole bankroll and say, look, I got the money, but I don't want to lose more than $500, then buy in for $500. If your goal is to win $300 out of the 500, you better bet bigger bets and get the hell out of there quick. And you catch lightning in a bottle like we just did, that's a great day. If it doesn't work out for you, the worst thing that happens is you burn $500 out of your $25,000 account. That's an okay way to show up in the morning and say, hey, I'm gonna make my coffee run today. I'm either gonna do it or I'm not. Right? I'm either a great shooter or I ain't today. I'm gonna pick my number or I'm not. If you're willing to take that swing every single morning, fine. But if you're gonna take the $500 and say, I'm looking to win $300, but I'm gonna do it $10 at a time, you're kidding yourself. And I think that's the thing that we all fall into this problem. I bought them for $500, I'm gonna go 64 across 10 times. 10 times we're gonna do this, right? And trust me, I do this all the time, right? How do you win $500 doing this? The only way to win $500 doing this is if somebody rolls a 30 roller. Because most of the time, what's gonna happen is this. You're gonna get paid $14, you're gonna get paid $14, you're gonna get paid $14, and they're gonna throw a freaking 7. You're gonna get 3 hits, you're gonna win 14, 14, and 11, a 5, a 2, and a 7 out. You're gonna get, what are you gonna get? 30, 35, 40, $42 out of that hand, right? You're gonna be down money. That's the average thing. To make $300 this way, you got to have a miracle run. Now, I like playing this way, right? The aggressive side of me, when I want to play and be aggressive persona, 64 across, shooting for the ceiling, is a nice way to tickle that urge. But it's not a way to make a paycheck, right? And if your goal is, I want to be paycheck guy, that's not the way you make that goal. You make the paycheck goal by having bigger bets and being there for a little bit less time. Hope that makes sense, right? And I think it's one of these things that I'm super passionate about, because you've got to, again, tie your goal with your money and with your brain. And to me, I'd rather do that and say, I'm 100% loss limit guy. I will lose whatever I buy in for to achieve the goal, right? If I'm only willing to lose $500, buy in for $500, burn it or not, and that's it. It's either you're gonna catch fire or you're gonna go burn it up. One of two things is gonna happen to you. That's I think a mindset thing that it's really hard to reconcile, because your brain, most people's brains won't let them do that, and it's very, very hard to have that 100% stop loss mentality. If you have the 100% stop loss mentality, but not the bankroll, you buy in for smaller, right? And you bet a little bit bigger, and that's how you get out of that thing. So yeah. Texas Dicer, nobody can win enough in Vegas to pay for the food. That's true, man. The food, it's not even the food. It's the food plus the extra service fee now, and plus you got to tip the person who cleans your table. It's a whole thing, right? Yeah, you're right. You got to win. You got to have an extra table session just to do that, for sure. Arcady says, scouting and charting, I'm guilty of assuming someone else's betting persona at the table. 100%. Right? I have done this. We've all done this, right? Oh, that guy. How many of you have taken a strategy you saw on YouTube and gone out there and burned it? I've done it. That looks fun. Let me go try that. Let me go try this. And you go out there and you get destroyed. A, you don't practice enough, but B, it's like it doesn't match you, right? It's hard to play things that don't match you. Let's see. Waylon says, don't pass with odds versus don't pass flat bets. Flat bets win every time, right? And I think Waylon is onto something and again, this is a whole separate strategy discussion, but like those flat bets are so powerful. And the laddering the flat bets, and I think to me, I like to go both ways on that. I like to ladder the loss a little bit, but I also really enjoy progressing the flats on the wins. I like to parlay the win. You see me do it every day, right? Win the pass line, parlay the win. That becomes so much more powerful in the next roll, right? I love doing that. When you're in a ladder and you hit one and you parlay, that ladder comes all the way down. I like to hit it from both sides. To me, streaks happen in both directions, and I like to, baby up and hammer when it's hot. But again, without the bankroll, can't do it. My bankroll will not allow me to play that way right now. So I don't. I have to assume a different persona, because I cannot play that way. So I have to do what makes sense. And I think that's something that we all have to be willing to do. Identify who we are and connect all those pieces to be successful. So, all right, I'm gonna leave you with one more thing before let's go back to the table. I might do this again tomorrow. One more thing, I want you to have some fun. Let's leave here on a fun note tonight. I'm gonna give you a little side bet that it's not rocket science, so don't hit me. This is nothing new, but it's fun, and we're gonna do it for fun. I'm gonna grab the 4 and 10 for $10 and the hard ways for $1 each, okay? If you wanna burn this on a second hard way, fine, but just keep the buck, right? So it's $24. If you wanna be a badass, you can go 100, 100, and 25, 25, 25, 25. It's basically 4 to 1, right? 4 to 1 outside and the hard ways, okay? Either way you want to play it. But what I'm going to do is march them. We're going to march them in. You've seen this before, the strategy, but check it out. There's the 6 is the point, right? Let me just show you how the marching soldier can work in this way. Let's play it pretend first, right? Let's say that the 10 hits, right? The 10 hits for $18. We'll take the best case scenario. 10 hits for $18. We'll take the 3 and make the 9 look like a quarter. Okay, and we'll leave the hard ways out of it. The 9 hits. Okay, the 9 hits for 35 bucks. It goes to the 8, okay, for 60. It goes right into the 8. It's a $60 8. Okay, let's say the 4 does the same thing, right? The same thing happened with the 4. The 4 gets marched up. Let's pretend that we got the 4 and the 5, and now we have a $60 6, a $60 8, and a few bucks in the rack. Okay, let's say we roll a 6, or let's say we roll an 8. Okay, what I want to do is march the soldier all the way across. I got a bet in the way, so what I would do here is we'll just stack it on the 8. We'll take 2 hits on the 8, and then we'll leapfrog the 6 that we can hop them over. But if this hits at 120, it's 140. And we go to the 5. And the 5 now looks like this. Check this out. The 5 is going to have $225, $250 on the 5 with $10 and change. Okay? That happens to hit. That's $350. And it goes to the 4. Now you've got $600 on the 4. That would pay $1,200, and for $10, you make $1,200, right? That's the marching soldier. Doing it from both sides is kind of fun. Having it start at the 4 and the 10, both, you get 2 cracks at going in and crossing over. Plus the hard ways are in there to give you some belly rubbing. Some belly rubbing if you happen to grab a hard way along the way. Parlay those guys, right? And we'll just roll it out once. I got a little bit extra time today, just a 5. And just see if we can make it. I've actually done this in practice. And I've had the soldiers march all the way across a couple of times now. It's stupidly fun. And if your oh shoot, we had a 10 there. If your personality type is, I want to hit a home run, but I'm very risk averse. This is an interesting way, right? I don't want to risk a lot of money, but I want to hit it big, right? And I'm with all my buddies, and we want to have a good old time tonight, right? And cheer like maniacs when something goes well. This is a fun way to do it. So, trying to satisfy all the needs. There's the 7, so it doesn't work. Whatever. Reset the board. Just do it. Well, I'll do it another couple times just so you can see it. Another 10. Are you kidding me? On the 10 we go. There's an 8. All right. You got an 8. And you get for $24, another 7, because you know, it's me. Let's note how many times we lost it twice now, right? Look at this. Another time, the point we've hit the 10, like 10, 7, 10, 7, 10, 7. Another 7. Are you kidding me, John? Really? 3 times. Now we're $75 into this thing, and who cares, right? There's the 4. Come on. 4. Hey, we got one. Cool. That's going to be, let me take this out of here. That's going to be that case. We make $18. So $3 to the rack, $25 on the 5. Puck is off. Let's make it happen. There's an 8. There's an 8. Give me a 5. 5 or a 10. Come on. There's the point. That's the 8. Another 8. The repeater table, right? Aces. Give me a 5. Give me a 5. Nope. There's an 11. There's another 8. Wow. Point. Puck is off. Of course. You booger. There's the 5. There's a 9. All those 10s we had earlier, now I can't buy one, right? 4. Look at this shooter going off. All my friends are making money. I'm hoping for a miracle. There's a 10. Sweet. Same thing. $3 to the rack. And a $25 9. Now we've marched both ends in. We're gonna get 2 cracks at this thing. Can we do it? Nope. Come on. There's the 5. Look at that. Booyah. $35. It goes to the 6 and the puck turns off. 6 is the point. How many times have we done that? Had the point be the thing and we hit it? 7 out. Oh, what a bummer. What a bummer. But you can see how fun this could be, right? If that marched anywhere further, fun, right? Again, that's a cool little side bet or a cool little way to play. Yeah, we burned $100 on that so far, right? At a casino, those 4 shooters take 45 minutes because it's slow, right? It's a fun, exciting way to play. Your goal is to hit a home run. You are risk averse and have very small bankroll. That's a fun way to kind of go at it and just have a good old time on a night out with friends, right? Is that the way you play for a paycheck? No. Is that the way you play when you're trying to have a hoot and holler time? Yep. Pretty fun. And I think things like that to me are where I enjoy this game the most. Let me come back over here again. People ask me all the time, why do you do a channel? Why are you so serious? But I like to do fun crap like that too. And I think the thinker in me, the dial-in in me, likes to find ways to have a good time, not blow a ton of money, and have a lot of upside. And that's a fun little side project over there to do. So anyway, that is it, folks. My final thoughts for you today are this. Go back and rewatch. I will probably cut that middle part down where we talked about the personality types. Go back and rewatch it. And as I'm going through those personality types again the second time, I want you to put yourself in each of those categories and say, well, do I fit the profile for being conservative or aggressive or a thinker or whatever it is? Which profile do I typically fit into? And also think about, if I was going to the casino to do a thing, to make a paycheck or to whatever, earn enough money to buy myself a toy or something, right? Which play style is the best play style to hit that goal? And where does my money fit? I want you to start putting those pieces together. Build yourself a little Lego car with those pieces. Who I am, what I want, what I have. Those are the 3 pieces that you got to figure out. I am this person. I have this bankroll. I want this goal. Marry those together and start thinking about ways that you would attack the casino or the table or the game you want to play with those things in mind. Ultimately, we know this. The casino has the edge, right? It's a losing proposition ultimately. It's you're determining the manner in which it happens to you and the manner in which you win when you do win. So there it is, guys. You all have a great day. All right. I'll see you again tomorrow morning for another episode of Daily Paycheck and the Coffee Run. I will see you in chats tonight on the Ed, Jeff, and Gargoyle Rollout Show. And until then, love you all. God bless. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye.